Aloha, welcome to the Super Fresh Hawaii Wedding Podcast. My name is Nate Burgoyne, your host of this podcast with the Frobaby Productions DJ team. It's a pleasure to be with you. Thanks for joining this podcast. This is the first of many to come, and today I'm going to tackle a topic that I feel really passionate about. And I think it's going to be really helpful to couples who are trying to find vendors. The topic of today is 3 ways to vet your vendors. 3 ways to vet your vendors. If you have found some vendors that you think you want to hire and are considering, then this right here is the topic for you today. You're going to love this. I'm going to make the assumption that you maybe have a few florists that you're considering. There are a few caterers that you're considering already. There's some DJs you're considering, coordinators, rental companies. You have kind of a list of vendors and you're trying to narrow that down to who's going to be the right person for your event. So today I'm going to talk about 3 ways to vet those vendors to help you narrow that down and find who your finalists are. First, the first tip for that is to visit their Instagram and their websites. I'm a firm believer that the way that we do one thing is the way that we do all things. So if you visit the website and it feels right, it's easy to understand, it's easy to follow, you're getting information, they're not fluff talking you, it doesn't seem generic, then that might be the right person for you. It's going to feel right. The same thing holds true for their social media. Visit the social media accounts. What do you see there? What do you feel there? Does it resonate with you? Does the party that you see look like the party you want for your wedding? Does it convey the feelings that you want conveyed for your wedding to take place? So visit their websites, visit their socials. In the case of coordinators, what are the kind of clients? What does that look like? In the case of florists, of course, look at those floral arrangements. Look at what you're seeing there. Is that what you're looking for? Does that resonate with you? And when you visit their website, if they've taken the time to get you the information and make things easy to follow and easy to understand, then that is going to be an indicator of how that communication is going to go from there forward. Once again, I believe that the way people do one thing is the way they do all things. You take the time to discover if this is a vendor that is most likely going to work with you and your personality. Okay, number 2 is to ask vendors for their recommendations. For example, ask the DJ about the caterers. DJs eat lots of food at weddings, and we've tried it all. We know who the caterers are. We know who's making instant mashed potatoes. We know who feeds the vendors well. We know who's cooking food on site. We know who's bringing it in and it's been in a warmer for hours and it's kind of dry when it gets there. Any vendor knows that. DJs know that. So for example, ask your prospective DJs, hey, what do you think of these caterers, or who do you recommend for a caterer? So that's a good thing. On the flip side too, you can ask your caterers who they recommend for their DJs. They're there, the caterers are there all night, and they see what happens. They see the dance floor. They see what's going on there. A caterer can give you an unbiased opinion about the DJ teams. Everyone's a little bit different, right? So talk with them and get their opinion about who they recommend. You could also ask your DJ for recommendations of coordinators. We work with so many, and the DJ, especially if your DJ team also does MC work, we are constantly in communication with the coordinators, and we see who's super organized and who's got this kind of vibe and that kind of vibe. And we'd be happy to just share some insights into which coordinators we think might be a great fit for you. So yes, ask us, ask florists, ask the bartenders, ask the caterers, ask the rental people. They're there as well. Just get those vendor recommendations. A vendor is a great place to get an unbiased recommendation. However, recommendations from vendors can be biased too, so be aware of that as well. If you're getting recommendations from vendors, then ask them about how that relationship goes. There are some vendors that have these sweetheart deals together where if the coordinator recommends this vendor, then that vendor is going to give them a kickback, a percentage of their contract. And the same thing holds true for some venues as well. They have kind of a sweetheart deal, which is kind of shady in my personal opinion. I might get some flack for opening this up to the public. It's something you'd probably assume anyways. There may be some conflict of interest happening there. So if you do get recommendations from a vendor, I don't think it's out of place to ask that vendor, hey, do you have kind of a sweetheart kickback deal with these vendors? Now, that doesn't mean that even if they have that kind of a relationship, that they're not the right vendor for you. That's not a disqualifier, but it is good to know if there might be some ulterior motives or things that are playing into that recommendation. Thirdly, check the reviews. Read them online. Check all the reviews. Read them. You can go to reviews on Google, the Knot, Wedding Wire. You could go to Yelp and other places. Read the reviews. How many do they have? If they said that they've been in business for 30 years and they're super experienced and they have 3 reviews, that just doesn't equate in my mind. So, if there's something missing there, either they're not asking for the reviews or they're not earning them or the couples are reluctant to give them. I don't know, but check the reviews. And when you do get to those reviews, read them in detail. Read the verbiage of those reviews. Are the couples excited to leave those reviews? Are they long? Are they detailed? Are there specific things going into that review? Or are they kind of suspiciously generic, like, hey, they did a great job, excellent product for wedding? I mean, read them, right? You can tell when someone's sincere and when someone isn't sincere. That's not hard to do. Read the reviews. Are there commonalities between all the reviews? If you see common threads through all the reviews, then you can kind of piece that together and go, okay, this is a strength of this particular vendor. That's a vendor that I want to work with. If there's a specific quality of a vendor that you're not seeing in the reviews, then maybe that vendor is not the right vendor for you. So again, read those reviews and take that as a piece of information that you can process with all the other information that you have. So those are 3 ways that I recommend you vet your vendors. 1, check their websites, check their socials. 2, ask other vendors for their recommendations and their experience working with those vendors. And 3, read the reviews, check them out. There are other ways to vet your vendors. I've heard there are private Facebook groups where couples share their experience working with different vendors. Vendors aren't allowed in those Facebook groups. I've never been in them, so I don't know what they look like, but I am told that there are private Facebook groups where you can get some unbiased feedback or input on different vendors. So you could check those out as well. That would be, I guess, the 4th bonus way to vet your vendor. So that's it. I hope that is super helpful for you as you navigate this journey of trying to identify who the right vendors are for you. I know a lot of you couples are destination couples. You're coming from off island and it's not as easy to just sit down with them. I mean, the closest you could get is just sitting down and having a Zoom call with them. That's easy to do. So let's throw that in. Number 5, vet your vendor having a Zoom chat with them. Have some face-to-face time through the internet. See if you guys click and connect. Those are the tips that I have for you today. Thanks for joining today on the Super Fresh Hawaii Wedding podcast. If there are any topics that you'd like to hear about, feel free to reach out through superfreshpodcast.com. And of course, if you want to learn more about the Frobaby Productions DJ team, visit us online at frobabyproductions.com. That's it. Happy vendor hunting. Peace.